You know that feeling when you think you've seen it all in Emmerdale, and then the village serves up another week, where every single character seems to be hiding something? That's exactly what we're walking into between the 25th and 29th of August. Secrets, lies, people waving pitchforks about. It's messy, it's emotional, and honestly, it's got that proper Emmerdale edge we love. And with 11 big spoilers to get through, let's get straight into it. 1. Ross confronts Charity. It all kicks off with Ross, who's been piecing things together after overhearing Sarah talking to Vanessa about Mackenzie and Charity splitting. Straight away his alarm bells start ringing, and you can see exactly where his mind goes. He thinks Max found out about their betrayal. That's enough to send Ross storming over to Charity for answers. Now, Charity being Charity, she doesn't crumble under the pressure. She throws him out before he can dig too deep. But here's the thing, the seed's been planted. Ross is the sort of bloke who doesn't just let something lie. He'll circle back, he'll keep pressing. And the way Charity reacted only makes him more convinced she's got something to hide. This isn't going to go away quietly. 2. Vanessa comforts Charity, and when Ross is out of the way, Charity finally lets the mask slip. She breaks down with Vanessa, who, despite everything, is still that person she leans on when the guilt becomes too much. Charity admits the truth that's been eating her alive. The baby might not even be Sarah and Jacob's. But Vanessa makes an assumption of her own. She thinks the baby is Max and urges Charity to tell the family. Charity, desperate to keep control, doesn't correct her. She goes along with the misunderstanding but begs Vanessa to keep it all secret. It's classic Charity, tangled up in her own lies, even when someone is literally handing her a way out. And honestly, you can't help but think this is only going to explode in her face. 3. Charity lies to Ross. Of course, Ross doesn't back down. He comes straight back at Charity, refusing to believe her little performance. She tries to fob him off, saying she's had DNA tests at the hospital. The problem is, she's got nothing to show him. No paperwork, no proof. Ross being Ross, he's not buying it. He demands his own test, and you can see the panic start creeping in with Charity. The walls are closing in on her from both sides. If Ross keeps pushing, and if Vanessa starts asking questions too, how long can Charity really keep spinning this web? Viewers have seen her wriggle out of tight corners before, but this one feels different. This time the stakes are much higher. 4. Ray messes with Dylan. Let's move on to something just as tense, because Ray is slowly working his claws into Dylan. He starts by planting doubts, twisting Dylan's mind about Paddy's kindness. Instead of seeing Paddy as someone who genuinely cares, Ray positions himself as the one Dylan can really rely on. He even goes so far as to give Dylan an advance, flashing that false sense of support that we know is toxic. But here's where things get messy. April spots Dylan getting into a stranger's car, and knowing his past, she immediately jumps to the worst conclusion. She assumes he's gone back to sex work. That moment, from her point of view, is heartbreaking. She thinks history is repeating itself, and the worry is written all over her. 5. April opens up to Marlon, and April being April, she can't hold it in. Marlon notices his daughter's distress and gently pushes her to talk. She opens up, telling him her fears about Dylan, and reminding him of everything they went through before. The problem is, Marlon's reaction isn't what she hoped for. He's uncomfortable. He doesn't know what to say, and April ends up regretting even bringing it up. She storms off, shutting down. But later, she's relieved to learn Dylan wasn't doing sex work. He was caught up in a drugs drop instead. It's still bad, don't get me wrong. But in April's eyes, it's at least not the same trauma all over again. Still, that mistrust between them is now simmering. 6. Dylan is upset, and this leads straight into Dylan's own spiral. He realizes his secrets have spilled out. Paddy and Marlon now know more about his past than he ever wanted. He feels humiliated, betrayed. Even though April only told the truth because she cared. When she confesses that she loves him, he just can't process it. It's too much. Later, though, something unexpected happens. Paddy reassures Dylan in a way that cuts through all that shame. He makes it clear he'd never judge him for his past. That little moment of acceptance gives Dylan hope. You can see it in the way his shoulders drop. It's enough for him to go back to Ray and say he wants a break from the drugs drops. A dangerous move. Because if we've learned anything, it's that people like Ray don't just let you walk away. 7. Moira threatens Dylan. Speaking of confrontations, things hit boiling point when Kyle spots Dylan and realizes he's the same person who once tried to rob them. Moira, fierce as ever when it comes to her family, isn't about to let that slide. She corners Dylan at Butlers' farm, pitchfork in hand. The tension in that scene is everything. Moira isn't just angry, she's protective, she's on edge, and she's not afraid to get physical if that's what it takes to defend her kids and her land. The image of her standing there, pitchfork raised, says it all. Dylan, who's already vulnerable and being pulled in every direction, now finds himself face to face with Moira's wrath. This is one of those scenes that'll have fans shouting at the telly. And if you're still here watching and keeping up with all this drama, first off, you're a true Emmerdale fan. And second, if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel, and that way you won't miss any of the updates coming your way. 8. Belle dumps Kammy now. Let's talk about Belle. Poor Belle. After everything she's been through with Tom, you just want to see her happy. But happiness seems out of reach again. Gabby drops a bombshell, telling her it was Kammy who beat Vinny up. That's enough to shatter Belle's trust instantly. Terrified she's been tricked into loving another violent man, she ends it with Kammy on the spot. He pleads, swears he had nothing to do with it, but the damage is already done. You can't blame Belle for protecting herself after all that trauma. And the worst part, viewers know there's more to the story than she realizes. 9. Vinny feels guilty because the truth is, Vinny knows he's partly responsible for what's happening. He feels awful hearing that Belle and Kammy are over, but when he has the chance to come clean, he doesn't. Instead, he doubles down saying Kammy's a good person. Vinny then tries to patch things up with Kammy himself, but Kammy isn't having it. The friendship is in tatters, the romance with Belle is in tatters, and you can't help but feel sorry for all of them. Kammy does try again to win Belle back, but her trust is broken. Once that wall goes up, especially for someone who's lived through abuse, it's almost impossible to bring it down again. Robert and Ross compete meanwhile. At Butlers, another Barton Sugden clash is brewing. Ross and Robert end up arguing over farm work, nothing new there, but it spirals into a full-blown competition, a proper Barton versus Sugden showdown. It's the kind of light relief that Emmerdale throws in between all the darker stuff. Watching the two of them try to outdo each other is funny, but also laced with that undercurrent of rivalry. And let's be honest, when those two families butt heads, it never stays light for long. This could be laying the ground for something much bigger. 11. Aaron makes a discovery, and we'll end with Aaron, because his storyline is heading into some seriously dark territory. Away at the holiday cottage, he digs deeper into John, his husband, and stumbles on something that changes everything. Aaron realizes John's been lying to him, and not about something small. We're talking lies tied to John's murderous past. The betrayal on Aaron's face says it all. He thought he'd found stability, but instead he's staring down another storm. Fans know how fragile Aaron can be when trust is broken. Chas, meanwhile, is back in the village urging Robert to move on, unaware of the chaos brewing miles away. The question now is, what exactly has Aaron uncovered, and how dangerous is John really? This could be the storyline that defines the rest of the year. So there you have it, 11 big Emmerdale spoilers for next week, each one setting the stage for even bigger twists to come. From Charity's lies unraveling, to Moira and her pitchfork, to Aaron's discovery about John, the village is going to be buzzing. If you've enjoyed this breakdown, do me a favor, give the video a like, drop a comment about which storyline you're most excited or nervous for, and hit subscribe so you don't miss a thing. We'll be here every week chatting about the madness in Emmerdale, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. See you next time.